Hello, and welcome back for more Fallout 3, where you join me and Liberty here inside the marketplace of Rivet City. Last time, we got back on with our quest log and finally made the journey down to Rivet City here. We took the underground metros from the DC Mall. And yeah, upon our arrival, we stopped and had a chat with some of the people in the marketplace here. And today, we are going to get on with the primary reasons that brought us here, such as our father, finding Dr. Madison Lee, Moira Brown's research into the history of Rivet City, and the replicated man, the missing android. So, we have a lot of conversations to get through. So we'll get those out of the way first, and then we'll spend some time exploring, playing, and chatting with other fellows. First place we're going to head is to the science lab. It's not marked here, but it is through the door into the midship. And Rivet City can be a rather large and intimidating and confusing place the first time you arrive, but it's marked out really well, with signs and arrows all over the place. If you do find yourself lost, it's pretty easy to get your bearings and find your way back around. We'll just head down here a little ways, we'll find the science lab. Go straight ahead there. We're gonna hook around the corner though. Reason being, there's a scripted event that takes place the first time we enter.
For the most advanced scientific center in the Capital Wasteland, I find your...
Look, Dr. Zimmer, we've been over this. We don't know about your runaway robot, and we don't care. This lab is dedicated to solving real problems.
Yes. But Dr. Lee...
Dr. Lee is trying to save lives, and your constant interruptions are interfering with those efforts. Now please, stand aside.
I'm sure the good doctor's work with water purification is fascinating. But if you only knew what was at stake, the technology in that android...
What's at stake? You won't tell me what's at stake. Vagaries and secrecy. A robot's a robot, Zimmer, no matter how shiny the paint job. Now, please.
Ignorance and facetiousness. That's all you people are good for. Shiny paint job indeed. You can't even imagine the Commonwealth's accomplishments.
You know, if you're so smart, maybe you could help us, But no, that never even crossed your mind. Go peddle your selfishness somewhere else.
Fine, but I'm not leaving. Not until I've spoken to Dr. Lee. I'll be here when she's ready to abandon her chemistry set and talk real science.
Suit yourself. Dr. Lee, the new solutions will be ready in a few hours. Perfect.
You there. What are you, some kind of lab assistant? No, you look a bit more weathered. Are you by any chance for hire?
Well, that depends. What exactly are we talking about here?
To the point. I like that. Well, as it turns out, I've misplaced some very sensitive property.
Missing property? What kind of property?
How do I put this in a way you'll understand? All you know of robots are those buckets of bolts, those Mr. Handshakers and whatnot. Well, that's not all a robot can be. You see, in the Commonwealth, we've made artificial persons, synthetic humanoids, programmed to think and feel and do whatever we need. And occasionally, they get confused and wander off.
Sounds like slavery to me. You sure they don't wander off on purpose?
Nonsense! This is a machine we're talking about. Can you enslave a generator or a water purifier? Of course not. The same principle applies. But let's get back to your mission. You are to find this missing android. I've tracked him to somewhere here in the Capital Wasteland. He must have done something drastic, like facial surgery and a mind wipe, or else I would have found him by now. It will be no easy task. He may not even realize he's an android. Don't upset him by talking with him. Just come get me immediately. I'll handle it.
well, I'll be compensated for my services, right?
Of course. I have at my disposal advanced technology from the Commonwealth. I'd be willing to share some of it with you. Just think, you'll be the envy of all your friends.
Well, alright, sure. I'll look into finding your android for you.
Excellent. Locate my android and you won't be disappointed. Here, listen to this message he sent me. He's mocking me. I swear, I'll make him pay for that.
We get a note and another holotape. Self-determination is not a malfunction. Well, I need to know more about what I'm dealing with. What is an android exactly?
Forget everything you know about robots. Those buckets are mere children's toys compared to the real thing. Androids have fake skin and blood and are programmed to simulate human behavior, like breathing. They can even eat and digest food realistically.
So, any suggestions for finding this android?
Like I've said, I suspect he's had facial reconstruction and possibly even a mind wipe. Search the offices of doctors or techies for android information. If he's come into contact with these people, there may be records. Start with Dr. Preston. He lives on this leaky boat. See if he knows anything. He's a doctor, after all. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm busy trying to ignore my surroundings.
So if this android wandered off, why would he want a new mind and face?
Maybe he didn't exactly wander off. Maybe he fled. Escaped captivity, as it were, if he began to misinterpret his situation. It's possible my android sought to forget his previous life. Wipe away all memory, all guilt. Trick himself into believing he really is human. So no, he may not be just an ordinary robot, but he's certainly not human, no matter how badly he wishes it so. I made him. I want him. End of story.
But why would an android feel guilt? Come on, Zimmer, what aren't you telling me?
By God, you're as annoying as you are clever. Very well. I'll tell you what you want to know, if it helps you locate my property. The duty of this particular unit was the hunting and capturing of other escaped androids. Yes, others have escaped. It's one of the side effects of having such an advanced AI. Machines start to think for themselves, fool themselves into believing they have rights. And so, this particular android may have believed he'd done something wrong, immoral, and wanted to forget those deeds. Satisfied now?
So if others have escaped, why are you coming after this one?
This particular android, designation A321, is different, special. The most advanced synthetic humanoid I've ever developed. The others, like my escort Armitage there, are all older models, easily replicated. But A321? It will take years to recreate him. So you see, this android must be located at all costs. The others are all acceptable losses, but A321, he is irreplaceable.
Right, and we can give him information we've uncovered already, but we're not doing that yet. Tell me about the Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth itself is nothing but a war-ravaged quagmire of violence and despair. Inside the sealed environment of the Institute, however. But the Institute's affairs are none of your concern. Your undeveloped mind couldn't even begin to comprehend what we've accomplished.
Do you know the history behind Rivet City?
Looks to me like a giant boat ran aground and a bunch of savages moved in. History lesson over.
Alright, Mortar might go with that. Oh, we have to go.
Of course you do.
I'll be ready for them.
Good to see you.
And before we go find Madison Lee, let's get away from some of the chattering voices here and listen to that holotape.
There was some sort of battle in the city yesterday.
So we can make it up the stairs.
Gunfire went on for over an hour.
They talk a lot. Here. Stand by the door. Self-determination is not a malfunction.
Zimmer, by the time you get this message, I'll already be gone. I'm escaping the Commonwealth. I want to live my own life on my own terms, as my own man. I know what you're thinking, that I'm malfunctioning. I used to think that's what caused the runaways too. But I know better now. Self-determination is not a malfunction. I'm not just willing to put up with all the bullshit anymore. You humans are going to have a full-fledged rebellion on your hands if you don't start treating us synths as persons. I know you'll be marshaling the Retention Bureau to come after me, but I know all the tricks of the trade. You won't be finding me, I assure you. By the time you get this, I will be someone else. It's the price I pay for my liberation. My final act of rebellion against a system I no longer believe in. Goodbye, Zimmer, and good riddance.
Alright, there we go. Yeah, a really good quest. It's some interesting... yeah, an interesting topic. And it's also the premise lead-in for Fallout 4 Commonwealth. Well, they're synths in Fallout 4 instead of androids. And we're looking for an escaped courser. On the table here, we get the bobblehead of intelligence, where the inscription on the base reads, "It takes the smartest individuals to realize there's always more to learn. Our intelligence has been permanently increased by 1. More skill points when we level."
Do you need anything?
And here's Dr. Lee.
Right now. Check back with me later.
Hello, Dr. Lee.
Look, this is a restricted area. I'm tired of telling you people. It's you. My heavens, you look so much like him. You're James's daughter, aren't you? What are you doing here?
You know my father? Have you seen him?
Well, yes, of course I do. Don't you know who I am? I suppose James never told you. Typical. I'm Dr. Madison Lee. I worked with your father many years ago. Your mother as well, in fact. You'll have to forgive me, this has all been very stressful. What with your father suddenly showing up here after being gone for so long. You have to understand that we put all of that behind us. Project Purity, our work, all of it. We've moved on, even if your father hasn't.
Well, I'm trying to find my father. Have you seen him?
You mean you haven't? I assumed he sent you here. For that matter, aren't you supposed to be in a vault? James said he left you there.
Well, I left the vault to look for him.
Did you? I was under the impression that's exactly the opposite of what he wanted for you. Well, you won't find him here. He's come and gone already.
Well, I'm sorry. Could you please tell me where he's gone?
Your father insisted that we return to work on Project Purity. I tried telling him too much time has passed. There's no way it would work. Predictably, he refused to listen to me. He says he can prove it will work and headed off to the old lab. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you.
Where is this old lab of yours?
It's in the old Jefferson Memorial Building, northwest of here. Please, don't go after him. It was foolish of him to even think about going there alone.
Can you tell me more about my parents?
I suppose so. I worked with them for several years until your mother died and your father decided it was time to leave. What else do you want to know?
What was my father like back then?
James? He was very driven, determined to change the world. Well, we all were back then, I suppose. He was focused on 2 things, really. Making Project Purity work, and your mother. When she died, I think he gave up. I know he wanted to keep you safe, but I think part of what he did was run away. But it seems that he never really was able to get over the idea. I'm frankly shocked that he waited all this time and wants to try again.
I never knew my mother. What can you tell me about her?
Yes, your mother was... well, she was a good woman. A very dedicated scientist. Your father loved her very much. It was a shame that she died. She had been excited to meet you.
Why did my mother die? What happened?
Complications from childbirth. None of us were expecting it. We weren't as prepared as we could have been. You have to understand, we were struggling with scavenged, derelict equipment. We did everything we could.
I understand. I'm sure you did everything you could.
Yes, well, I'm sorry it wasn't enough.
Let's talk about something else.
Okay.
Is there any way you can help me out?
Look, I don't want to be harsh, but I have problems of my own. I don't have the resources to support James's foolish endeavors, or you're chasing after him. I'm sorry.
Oh, come on. Isn't there anything you can do to help?
I'm sorry, I am not in a position to help you.
Okay, thanks anyway.
You understand, I have enough to worry about already.
I'd like to know a bit more about you.
What? Well, I'm not sure what there is to tell. Your father and I, we worked together for a long time. I think we were really on to something. But then there were complications. The project was abandoned and your father disappeared. I returned here to Rivet City and established the lab you see before you now.
Tell me about this project you worked on with my father.
Project Purity, we called it. What do you want to know?
What was the point of it?
It was simple, really. Fresh, clean water for everyone. Such a simple idea, and yet so impossible to realize. The plan was to build a facility that could purify all the water in the tidal basin at once. No radiation, no muck, just clear water. It just turned out to be more difficult than we anticipated.
Why didn't it work?
We had the basic principles down, we understood most of the science behind it, but the radiation in the area is so pervasive. Small-scale tests were fine, but anytime we tried to test the process on a larger scale, it was just too much. Maybe if we'd had more time, or better equipment.
And why did you stop working on it? What happened?
You happened. It wasn't just you. We had more problems than we could handle already, but your birth is what finally pushed it over the edge. Your father decided that you were more important than everything we'd been working for, and he left. He left all of us. Once he was gone, the Brotherhood decided we weren't worth their time anymore. Without their protection, we had to abandon the purifier.
Well, let's talk about something else.
Okay.
And what is this lab? What are you doing here?
This is the Rivet City Science Lab. It's taken many long years to put together, but we've done well for ourselves. Our work on portable fusion power and hydroponics are coming along quite nicely, if not quite according to schedule.
And what do you know about Dr. Zimmer?
That man doesn't have you looking for his pet android, does he? I've already told him to lay off it. He's distracting my entire team.
Have you ever heard of someone named Pinkerton?
That idiot? He left so long ago, most folk don't even remember him. He claimed to have found a secret stash of technology somewhere in the ship. Then he just disappeared.
And what kind of place is this Rivet City?
Rivet City is one of the few bastions of civilization left in the land. We're working to rebuild our society, to make the world livable again.
And what do you know about the city's history?
I could tell you all about the science lab, but even though I was here near the start, I can't really help with the details of how it all worked out. It all seems like a lifetime ago. I'm afraid I've had a lot of things on my mind since those early days.
Okay, well, we have to go now.
Good luck finding your father.
So, Project Purity's over at the Jefferson Memorial. We'll have to go check that out.
If you could move out of
I'm
the
off
way,
to work.
it would make things easier.
Anyone else offer anything? Hi, Anna.
Yeah?
I'm looking for my father. Have you seen him?
Look, some of us are trying to get work done here. There have been enough disruptions recently. Anybody coming through here would have to talk to Dr. Lee. Why don't you go bother her about it?
What do you know about Zimmer?
He's from up north. He was bragging about how great it is up there. Yeah, great. They can't even keep tabs on their robots.
Is Dr. Lee as smart as they say she is?
She's certainly head and shoulders above most everyone else around here, though that's not saying much.
Alright, we need to get going.
Bye.
And Janice?
I'm Janice Kaplinsky, Chief Botanist. What do you need?
I'm looking for my father. Have you seen him?
I did see a man talking to Dr. Lee, but I really shouldn't be discussing it. She's already in a bad mood. I'd hate to make it worse. You should probably just talk to her about it.
What do you know about Zimmer?
Other than him being an egotistical, arrogant, condescending pain in the ass, nothing. He's from the Commonwealth. He's come looking for some special robot. I must admit I'm rather curious, but I have other work to do.
Do you know anything about Rivet City's history?
If it hasn't got to do with the science quarters, I'm probably not the one to ask. And Dr. Lee's so busy, you really shouldn't disturb her work.
Alright, well, farewell.
So long.
Alright, that should be the rest of the science lab. Garza here doesn't offer much, I don't think.
Please excuse me. There is much work to be done.
What do you do around here?
I help Dr. Lee when she needs equipment moved. I am no scientist. I just help with the heavy things.
Alright, up these stairs.
What else do you want from me?
Oh, that's Dr. Lee again. Okay. We'll head up here. The Weatherly Hotel. Alright, we'll go this way. Upper deck.
Hey there.
Clinic's up this way. We get patched up for a little mishap at the pier. This should be the doctor's office. Yep, there's Doc Preston. Hey, Doc.
You're in the Rivet City Clinic. I'm Dr. Preston.
Guess he's not gonna turn around. Ah, there we go. You're a doctor, right? I could use some help.
You're right. You do need a doctor. Lucky I happened along. But first, let's discuss my fee. 100 caps ought to cover it.
Alright, here's your money.
This won't hurt a bit. Nah, just kidding. It will probably hurt a lot. Hold still. You're all set. Are we done here?
This place looks pretty easy to rob. You have any problems with thieves?
Don't get any cute ideas. Security is just a shout away. Now, if you've got any medical issues, let's hear them.
Could I ask you about Rivet City's history?
Oh, I'd like to help. I really would. But I don't know the first thing about this place's history. Don't let my age fool you. I may have been around for a while, but I didn't spend all that time here.
Okay, well, bye, Doc.
Take care of yourself.
Alright, yeah, we were told to ask him about the android, but I think we have all of the clues already, so he has nothing new to offer us. It's his quarters, yeah. We'll get to searching places in a bit. There are a lot of locks to pick, some easy XP we can farm out.
You don't
The
look so
Weatherly
tough.
Hotel. That's their sister. May Wong told us he's a suspected slaver.
They call me sister. Don't ask.
Yeah, if we do ask, he doesn't like it, so hey, I don't want any trouble.
Smart move. What did you want?
Have you heard anything about the history of Rivet City?
Do I look like someone who cares?
Alright, I've got things to do.
So do I.
Vera's not here. We gotta...
That's secure for a reason.
Yeah, the robot check-in clerk. We're gonna have a word with Vera. Well, we'll head back to the market. Zimmer's hotel room. That would be our hotel room, I think. We rent one. Sister's hotel room. There's Victoria Watts again. Back here in the marketplace. Let's go see if we can find Seagrave. Oh, here's Vera Weatherly.
Weatherly Hotel.
Well, we'll talk to her first.
Welcome to the Weatherly Hotel. I'm your hostess, Vera Weatherly.
Yeah. Have you heard any interesting gossip?
Well, I really shouldn't tell you, but have you heard about Polly Cantelli? He's addicted to chems. His poor wife Cindy is at her wit's end.
Go talk to Cindy, maybe Polly at some point. Are there any fun rumors flying around Rivet City?
You haven't heard? Angela has the hots for Diego. But since he's a priest, he's been putting her off. One of these days, she's just going to jump his bones.
Okay, we knew that one. Are there any other rumors you've heard?
They say Mr. Lopez is losing it. He stands on the top of the bridge tower for hours at a time, just staring out over the city.
Okay, there's some easy XP for some gossip there. And yeah, we heard Angela Staley has a crush on Diego.
Oh, yes. She's crazy about him. He keeps telling her no, but he also spends a lot of time with her. It's really not fair to her.
Do you know anything about Rivet City's history?
Well, I could tell you all about my hotel, but I'm sure I don't know anything about how Rivet City itself got started. I mean, you hear rumors and you make guesses, but I really couldn't say I know for sure, and I'd hate to lead you down the wrong path.
Could you at least tell me what you've heard?
Well, if it'll help, I once heard that this place was covered in mirelurks 50 years ago, raiding all around the city. Eventually, some poor soul they thought would be lunch fought back and cleared out the whole ship. He set up the city in their place. They say he was the first counselor for the upper deck and lived here to his death. Can't say I believe it a bit, but it's a nice tale to tell.
Okay, well, so long, Vera.
Farewell.
Stay chill, dude.
Hey, Ted, we want to talk to you.
Ted Strayer. You can chill with me if you want, dude.
Sounds like a plan, man.
All right, you and me, just hanging.
Can I ask you about Rivet City's history?
Lady, I only just got here myself. Ain't nothing I could tell you.
Well, do you know a Mr. Crowley?
Whoa, that's a blast from the past. My dad knew a dude named Crowley. I never met him, though. I think Dad said he died when they were checking out some old fort.
Do you know what they were doing at that fort?
Nah. He said that old man Tenpenny hired him and some other guys to go in there, but he never said why. My dad made enough caps off it to set him up good, though.
What do you know about Tenpenny?
Everybody knows he runs Tenpenny Tower, but I never met the dude. I swear.
Well, can you think of any reason Crowley might want you dead?
No shit. That dude wants me dead?
Well, Mr. Crowley wants your father's security key.
Whoa. Is it, like, worth caps? 'Cause I got needs, man.
Yeah, we can be nice here. I'll give you 25 caps for that key.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be flying high tonight.
Alright, well, there's one of Mr. Crowley's keys recovered, and we didn't even have to kill Ted Strayer. Nice. Alright, Seagrave. There he is. He's in his shop now. Mr. Holmes.
Welcome to Rivet City Supply. I've got a little bit of everything here. Howdy, I'm Seagrave. Seagrave Holmes. I have a little of just about everything here.
You got a T-51B? No? Then you don't have everything.
A what? Look, if you just want to crack wise, go somewhere else. But if you've got stuff you want to sell, then I'm your man.
We'll hold off on Bannon. Yeah, did you know that Paulie Cantelli is an addict?
He's totally strung out. It's going to kill him one of these days.
Alright. What do you know about Rivet City's history?
Oh, I really wouldn't know. I mean, long as I can remember, she's just been here, soaking up all the repairs and attention we can give her. I grabbed a wrench and joined in the reconstruction pretty much first thing out of the womb, but I never really cared about the politics.
What can you tell me about the reconstruction?
Oh, well, the old girl had seen a lot of damage, especially where the Mirelurks used to nest, and where the super mutants kept trying to get in. I guess the mutants and the Myers got so busy fighting each other, it gave us the time we needed to make this place shipshape. Does that tell you what you need to know? Anyway, we're here in Rivet City, and she's in good hands now.
Can you think of anyone from back then that might know more?
Last feller I remember from back then was Mr. Pinkerton, and he must have left about a decade ago, after that spat with the science team. He used to have a storage shed in the broken-off bow of the ship. We always thought he was crazy for keeping stuff there. Might have kept a couple records down there, I guess. Careful, though. Ship's a bit treacherous down there in her belly.
Oh, alright, well, I guess that's enough about Rivet City.
Oh, right. I sort of lose track of time talking about the old girl.
Let's see, what have you got to sell?
I've got a little bit of everything.
And he kind of does, too. I don't know if there's anything we want off of him. No, not really. Okay, thanks anyway. We should leave.
See you later.
Okay, he told us we gotta find Pinkerton, and one of our android nodes told us we gotta find Pinkerton, so we're gonna have to find Pinkerton. In the broken bow of the ship. Here's Cindy Cantelli. Let's go talk about her boyfriend, Paulie, I guess.
Have you seen my husband? This is a quick fix. I mean, that's the name of our shop. Polly and mine, that is. My name is Cindy. Cindy Cantelli.
Well, it sounds like you've been sampling your own stuff.
No, no, no. I would never do that. Polly does. Sample it, I mean. He's my deadbeat husband.
So your husband is an addict?
He's hopeless. I have to keep him away from the shop, or he'll rob us blind. One of these days, he's going to end up dead.
Okay, well, I heard Angela Staley has a crush on Diego.
The poor dear. I wish there was something I could do to help her. That boy ought to just give her a tumble. It would be good for both of them.
What do you have for sale?
We've got all kinds of chems.
She's got Ant Queen pheromones. That would be the easy way. We're not going to do things the easy way, though. We'll just leave those there. Nothing else. Alright. What can you tell me about Rivet City's history?
Well, I don't really know, to tell the truth. How does any city get started, really? But I've heard Bannon talk about how he was responsible for its success. So I'd ask him about it.
Okay, well, it's time for me to leave, Cindy.
I'm sure you'll be back soon.
Come on. Pay more attention to what you're doing.
Okay, well, yeah. There's one more place we can stop by and visit before we get to calling it a day. Let's go and find the Rivet City Preservation Society. Yeah, it says right there. Or the Capital Preservation Society. Alright, inside the midship deck here, yeah, St. Monica's Church. Preservation Society should be right down at the end of this hallway.
Everything looks okay here.
Good. Excuse us.
I do the repairs around here, so if you see something that needs fixing, let me know.
Okay, and right in here we have a museum of sorts. Collecting a lot of pre-war artifacts and whatnot. There's the curator. We'll have a quick look around at some of the stuff on the tables. Empty pop bottles. One of those projection devices. Clock's baseball glove. Scope. Yeah, not too much. Radios. The most interesting things, the aircraft. Okay, let's go talk to this fella. Mr. Abraham Washington.
Preservation Society.
Thanks.
Quite an impressive collection, isn't it? Well, don't be shy. Have a look around. Abraham Washington's the name. Curator of this little slice of American history.
Well, it's an interesting collection indeed.
Ah, a fellow scholar, I see. Each of the documents in this room tells a small but important story about the history of the United States of America. Unfortunately, the greatest prize of all is missing from the collection.
All right, I'll bite. Which document is missing?
In 1776, the Second Judgmental Congress got together and adopted a document drafted by none other than Thomas Jefferson himself. It was the day the United States of America earned its name and secured its place in history. This magnificent achievement took form in the Declaration of Independence.
Well, let me take a leap of faith here. You want me to find it for you?
Indeed I do. Without the Declaration, the rest of these relics are almost meaningless. I must have it. Acquire the document for me, and you'll be awarded most handsomely. What do you think?
I'd love to be a part of history and bring you the Declaration.
Excellent! You won't regret it, I promise you. Imagine, you are taking part in another chapter of American history. I envy you. You can find the Declaration of Independence in the ruins of the National Archives.
Can you show me how to get to the National Archives on my map?
In the D.C. ruins, you'll find the National Archives, or what's left of it anyway. The building should contain the document in a protective glass case. Be careful. The place is swarming with super mutants. Here, let me pinpoint its location for you.
All right, thank you. And we have a few questions about the Declaration of Independence.
Please ask them. After all, knowledge is power.
What does the Declaration of Independence look like?
A piece of what was called parchment, sort of a thick paper, has faded handwritten writing all over it. It's no more than 2.5 feet tall and 2 feet wide. If you find it, you should be able to roll it up carefully.
And what's the history behind the document?
On July the 4th in 1776, a group calling themselves the Second Judgmental Congress got together at Fort McHenry in Maryland. After a ceremony which ended with Paul Revere singing the famous battle hymn known as the National Anthem, the document was signed. From there, it was sent to England by plane, presumably, and presented to King George himself. Thus began the Evolutionary War.
Yeah, his history is a little bit off, I guess, but, all this info on the Declaration, where'd you get it? I don't like secrets.
Well, this is quite embarrassing, actually. I sent someone like yourself after the Declaration. She did some of the research for me, but now I haven't seen her in a few months. I wouldn't worry about it. Many have died for causes far less grand than what you're about to undertake.
Okay, well, let me ask you something else.
Certainly.
Do you know the history of Rivet City?
It's funny now that you ask. I can tell you all about the capital, but I really haven't got any idea about Rivet City itself. I can't see how important it is compared to the capital's history, but maybe Bannon might know something. He's in the governing council, after all.
Okay, well, we have to go now.
I hope next time I see you, the Declaration will be in hand.
Alright, so, yeah, we'll go and find the Declaration of Independence one of these days. None of those are accessible. It does have a terminal over here. Some more fractured history, I think. Constitution of the USA. The Constitution of the United States was drafted in 1786 and adopted a year later by the Constitutional Convention of Philly. This document defines the organization of the U.S. government and sets forth the rules and regulations known as articles. In addition, there are modifications made to the articles by ruling presidents during their reigns known as amendments. The Society owns the only known copy of the document to exist, which was retrieved from the ruins of the National Archives in 2256. That one seems alright. Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation was a document issued by the breathtakingly charismatic President Abraham Lincoln in 1862. This executive order was the beginning of the end of slavery in the United States. Although it was issued during the Civil War, making it a war measure, it paved the way for the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, which completely abolished slavery once and for all. Okay, the history's in the terminals a bit better. Gettysburg Address. The Capital Preservation Society is proud to have in its possession a copy of one of the most iconic and prolific speeches in United States history. This speech, given by the astonishingly intelligent Abraham Lincoln on Thursday, November 19, 1863, laid the groundwork for what would later become the basis of democracy in the United States and set the standards for a country with a government by the people, for the people. Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine was presented in 1823 by the average and unremarkable President James Monroe. The document warns the European powers of the time not to interfere in the affairs of the Western Hemisphere, citing the examples of colonization and puppet governments as possible intolerances. U.S. Declaration of War on Germany. Part of our collection is a copy of the formal declaration of war made on Germany during World War II on December 11, 1941 by the government and endorsed by the President Franklin D. Roosevelt. While the document doesn't evoke the brilliance of other masterworks like the Emancipation Proclamation, it still served as a reminder to the world that the United States wasn't a power to be trifled with. And then some fallout history, the U.S. Declaration of War on China. Although it is uncertain when the Declaration of War on China was made, some say 2066 when they invaded Alaska, others say 2067 when the first power armor suits were deployed to counter their forces. It is the last known document of note authored by the United States government before the bombs fell. Had the Declaration had the tenacity and might of a stronger president behind it, say Abraham Lincoln, who's to say what the outcome of those tremulous years would have been? Alright. Alright, let's see. Preservation Society. No, I can't think of any other little last-minute things to do, short of like picking locks or finding other people to talk to. So maybe we'll just stop here in the Preservation Society. And next time we'll get underway, try to find Pinkerton in the front of the ship, And we have to make our way to the Jefferson Memorial at some point to find Dad. And yeah, lots to do around here, so we'll pick it up next time. Until then, thank you for watching, and bye.